The Ohio Attorney General stepped up to that microphone. He said 2 words, pure evil. 2 words. And they still weren't enough. Because what I uncovered about that house in Hamden, Ohio goes deeper than any headline you've read, darker than any report you've seen. And what I found in those birth records, nobody is talking about. Officials say if they had waited 24 more hours, there may have been multiple deaths. 24 hours. That is how close this came. I'm going to walk you through everything I found. And by the end of this video, you will understand why this case is not what the news is telling you. Welcome to Darkness of Beneath Crimes. Hit that subscribe button right now. Because what I dug up on this story, you will not hear anywhere else. Stay with me. Let me take you inside that house. Investigators found 16 children, living in a 1,300 square foot home, confined to a single 12 by 12 bedroom, covered in human waste. 12 by 12, smaller than most bathrooms. And inside it, 16 kids. Their ages? 18 months to 18 years old. An entire generation. When authorities tried to speak to them, some of the children didn't know how. Some couldn't read. Some couldn't write. Not a single one of them had ever been enrolled in school. Not one. I want you to think about that for a second. An 18-year-old girl. Old enough to vote. Old enough to drive. And she could not write her own name. The Vinton County Sheriff said it best. Livestock has been kept in better conditions than the children. Livestock. 7 of the children were rushed to hospitals in Columbus. 2 had to be flown by helicopter. 1 was in critical condition. And still, the world had no idea this house existed. Here is what I found when I dug deeper. This family has been hiding since 2008. Authorities believe they lived in Pike County, Ohio. Then Jackson County. Then Wisconsin. Then Gallia County. Then Vinton. County after county. State after state. Every time someone got close, they moved. Every time a door started to open, they vanished. And here is the part that stopped me cold. Officials say the family deliberately avoided creating medical records. Government records. Any paper trail that could reveal what was happening inside those walls. No school records. No hospital records. No footprint. 16 children. Hidden from the entire system that was built to protect them. One official said it plainly. These folks were pretty good at hiding these kids. Good at hiding. Or helped by a system that stopped looking. Because here is what I confirmed. Child Protective Services in another county paid this family a visit. That is when they picked up and moved. Someone got close. And they ran. Now let me tell you who was inside that house. Gary Siders Jr., 36 years old. His wife, Elizabeth. She is 33. Gary Siders Sr., 73. And Christina Siders, 67. 4 adults. 2 generations. And 16 children who never had a chance. Here is what the marriage records show. Elizabeth was 15 years old. It was 2008. She married Gary Siders Jr., who was 18. She was 15. And she was already 7 months pregnant at that wedding. Their first child was born just 2 months later. A child. Marrying into a family. Carrying a child of her own. And then it did not stop. Elizabeth had a baby nearly every year. For 17 straight years. The same midwife delivered 6 of those children. 6. Including 2 babies born while Elizabeth was still legally a child herself. Under Ohio law, health professionals are required by law, to report suspected child abuse. 6 deliveries. 1 midwife. And 16 children stayed hidden. The question of why nobody reported this is one that investigators are now urgently asking. But here is the detail nobody is talking about the way they should be. The total number of children isn't 16. It's 18. I went through the birth and death certificates myself. On November 20th, 2022, Elizabeth gave birth to conjoined twins. 2 baby girls. Their bodies were fused together. They shared organs. Their names were Faith and Bailey. They lived for 1 hour. They died at Riverside Methodist Hospital that same day. They were 24 weeks old. There is a grave marker. It sits in Ohio. It carries both of their names. Faith Siders, Bailey Lee Siders. 2 baby girls, buried before the world ever knew they existed. And now, there is another number, 19. Because Elizabeth Siders, sitting in that jail cell right now, may be pregnant again, with her 19th child, while her 16 surviving children are scattered across hospitals, while the world is only just learning her name. And here is what makes this worse. A legal expert I studied on this case explained it plainly. Pregnant inmates present unique medical problems. Most rural jails are not equipped to handle them, which means, if the pregnancy is confirmed, Elizabeth Siders could be released on a modified bond. For medical reasons, she could walk out of that jail before a single charge has been resolved. Does that sit right with you? Because it shouldn't. If you are still with me, you already know this is the kind of story Darkness of Beneath Crimes was built for. We don't just read the headlines. We go underneath them, like this video. Subscribe to the channel, because we are nowhere near done. What I am about to show you next is the part that changes everything. The 4 defendants are facing a combined 68 felony child endangerment charges. 68 combined across 4 people. And prosecutors have publicly stated that number is expected to grow. The complaint against Christina Siders alone alleges she abused 16 children, born between May 2008 and January 2025. Prosecutors allege every child suffered serious physical harm. Every child, not some, every single one. All 4 members of the Siders family have pleaded not guilty. Then something strange happened. All 4 of them waived their preliminary hearings. Do you understand what that means? A preliminary hearing is where prosecutors have to present evidence in open court. They have to show probable cause. Publicly, the Siders family said no. All 4 of them. Together. Strategically. They chose not to let that evidence into the public light, because they know what that evidence contains. And so do I. Here is what brought investigators to that door in the first place. A warrant was issued for Gary Siders Jr. It was tied to misdemeanor indecent exposure charges from May. A misdemeanor. That is what cracked this entire case open. But investigators have confirmed something else. The original search warrant, the one that led them into that house, is sealed. And it is connected to a completely separate investigation. Not drugs. Not indecent exposure. Something else. Authorities have refused to say how they first became aware of the Siders' home. The affidavit remains sealed. The investigation remains classified, which means the worst of what is coming has not yet come. Prosecutors have already indicated additional criminal charges are on the way. Additional charges from a house that investigators described as containing evidence too disturbing to fully release to the public. And there is one word, one carefully chosen word, that tells you where this is going. Officials have referred to this case as intrafamily. Intrafamily, that single word, carefully selected, deliberately used, suggesting sexual relations may have occurred between family members. They did not use it by accident. And the sealed warrant, the one nobody is talking about, may be directly connected to what that word implies. If this investigation leads where the language suggests it might, the charge sheet will not stop at 68 counts. It will not stop at child endangerment. It will go somewhere far darker. Now let me tell you what Elizabeth Sider's own lawyer said. His name is Thomas Dolly. He walked into that jail cell expecting one thing. He found something else. He described Elizabeth as timid, exhausted, fragile. Her first question to him was not about bail, not about charges. It was about her children. She wanted to know how they were doing. Stolly said this, and I want you to hear it word for word. Evil requires malice. And I did not see any malice in Elizabeth. He said this was not a case of evil. He said this was a case of isolation. He said if that is all you know, if you were 15 years old when your world was shaped, you get shaped by it. Then a Facebook post surfaced. A man identifying himself as Elizabeth's brother wrote something that changed how I saw this entire case. He said his sister had been indoctrinated. He said he had only just reconnected with her. After 15 years apart. 15 years. Her own brother. Not a single word. Was Elizabeth Siders a perpetrator? Was she a victim? Was she both? Even her own lawyer said this. It may be too early to actually determine what was going on there. Too early. And that is what makes this case unlike anything I have ever researched. Now let's talk about the grandfather. Gary Siders Sr., age 73. Facing the same second-degree felony charges as everyone else in that house. On July 7th, Gary Sr. fell in custody. He was rushed to a hospital. Doctors found a serious medical condition. He was transferred to a hospital outside the area for specialized care. The judge granted him a $300,000 recognizance bond. He was released into medical care. His attorney is now raising questions about his competency to stand trial. But here is the contradiction that legal experts are already flagging. You cannot argue that a defendant is too incompetent to understand the charges, and in the same breath, argue that he understands them well enough to be trusted on release. Those two arguments cannot exist together. Prosecutors know it. The judge knows it. And now, you know it. If he is released from the hospital, he will wear a GPS monitor. A GPS monitor. For a 73-year-old man facing charges that could put him in prison for the rest of his life. Does that feel like enough to you? Here is what nobody is asking loudly enough. Prosecutor William Archer confirmed something. Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders were receiving state benefits when investigators executed that warrant. State benefits. For a family with 16 children. No school records. No medical records. Almost no government footprint. Who approved those payments? Who signed off? And why did no one follow the money back to that house? The Ohio Attorney General's office has now stepped in. A special prosecutor from Highland County, Anika Collins, has been appointed to help. Why bring in a special prosecutor? Because if Vinton County Children's Services failed these 16 kids, the same prosecutor cannot handle both the criminal case and represent the agency that may have looked the other way. That is a conflict of interest. That is why they brought in outside help. That is the part no official will say out loud. But I will. Now here is a detail that broke my mind when I found it. Reports indicate the older children had phones. They had access to social media. Phones. In a house described as covered in human waste. Where children were confined to a single room. Where an 18-year-old could not write her own name. How does that exist in the same house? You keep 16 children in squalor. You give them no education, no medical care, no sunlight, and then you give them phones? What were those phones for? What were those children posting? And more importantly, who was communicating with them? That question has not been answered. Court documents show something else. Multiple sets of twins. Born in 2022. In 2024. In 2025. 3 sets of twins. In 3 years. The 2022 twins, Faith and Bailey, were conjoined. They lived 1 hour. And there is another number I have to tell you about. Multiple reports, which authorities have not yet fully confirmed, allege Elizabeth Siders birthed 20 children, starting at age 13. Age 13. Authorities have confirmed 18. What happened to the other 2? Are there records? Are there graves? Are there children nobody has found yet? That question is sitting inside that sealed warrant, and nobody is answering it. The case is now moving toward a grand jury. And here is what you need to understand. Grand juries do not just rubber stamp charges. They investigate. They call witnesses. They review every piece of evidence. Every single day those children were not fed is a separate felony count. Every day they were denied medical care, a count. Every day they were denied school, a count. Prosecutors could stack these charges into the hundreds. Second-degree felonies. Each one carries the possibility of a decade imprisoned if the grand jury adds counts, and they will. The sentencing exposure for all 4 defendants grows every single day. 2 children were airlifted. 1 was critical. 24 more hours. And the Attorney General said there may have been deaths. That is how close we came. The children's uncle, Ronnie Fletcher, spoke to a local station. He said the family was horrified. He said they were kept at arm's length. He said Elizabeth's family gave them a car about a year ago. He said Elizabeth's mother-in-law would call asking for money to pay utility bills. They gave what they could, from a distance. And a relative said something else that stayed with me. They said Elizabeth had a difficult home life growing up. That she escaped into the Siders family. She escaped one painful world and walked into something far worse. She was 15. She was pregnant. She was shaped by whatever came next. And now, she may be carrying her 19th child, while sitting in a rural Ohio jail, facing 16 felony counts. The 16 children are now scattered. Some are still in hospitals. Some have been placed in foster care. They are safe, for maybe the first time in their entire lives. But safe does not mean healed. Safe does not mean they know how to speak, how to read, how to function in a world they were never allowed to enter. The road ahead for these 16 children is longer than any verdict, any sentence, any conviction in that Vinton County courtroom. The real reckoning for the system, for the adults in that house, for every mandated reporter who looked the other way, is only just beginning. Here is what I know for certain. The grand jury is coming. Additional charges are coming. And that sealed warrant will eventually be unsealed. When it is, what it reveals may be the most disturbing chapter of this entire story. Darkness of beneath crimes will be here. Every court filing, every new detail, every question that finally gets answered. If you want to be here when the next layer of this case breaks open, subscribe right now. Turn on the notification bell. And leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think is inside that sealed warrant, because I want to hear what you think they are hiding. 16 children, a sealed warrant, a possible 19th pregnancy, a grandfather released from jail, a special prosecutor brought in from another county, and an attorney who said this isn't evil. This is isolation. Which is it? And what does that sealed document say? I'm watching this case, and I'm not going anywhere.